This is Jim Williams with the HurricaneCity.com update on Tropical Storm Emily for August 3rd, 5:30 p.m. Here is the Hurricane Hunter aircraft that's currently investigating Tropical Storm Emily south of Hispaniola at this hour. And here is the actual reports coming in from the Hurricane Hunters from the drop zones that are going into the center of Tropical Storm Emily. This is called the coat hanger pattern. I'm just kidding, and there is no such thing as a coat hanger pattern, but this does look like a coat hanger. Anyway, the center of the circulation is right there where the cross patterns are, right here, and they're finding winds around 45 miles per hour. In fact, if we remove all the dots, there are the three vortex messages. We still have 1,003 millibars as of the last fix from the Hurricane Hunters, and maximum flight level winds around 45 miles per hour in the southeast quadrant. But this overall, if you go back many hours of the fixes, there you go. You can see it's a generally westerly motion of the system just north of due west. Now let's take a look at a radar from the area, and the center of circulation is not where the big blob of convection is. By the way, this can be found on the current featured page, which is Oviedo, Dominican Republic, next to the tracking chart at Hurricane City. But the center of circulation is right down here. There's your center way over here, and most of the convection is back over in here. So the system is a sheared system at this hour. It continues to be sheared. Let's go ahead and show you a tropical floater of our system, and you can see there's a little bit of a comeback of convection right around the center of circulation, but clearly the center is exposed right there. And again, all the convection is off to the right, and that is because of westerly wind shear, and I'll show you the reasons for that in just a minute. But as this system continues to cruise off to the west, the question is Hispaniola going to have any effect on the system at all? And is this going to cross Hispaniola at all? All day long, we've been expecting this to cross over the Dominican Republic, and now it looks like it's continuing to cruise west, and it's going to go actually south of our current feature, which is Oviedo, which is right here on the southern tip of the Barahona Peninsula. And this is going to actually probably cross into Haiti and through the Windward Passage, which would be the path of least resistance for mountainous regions. And I'll get to some images on that in just a minute. But let me go ahead and get some images going here. First of all, here is the GFDL model. And the GFDL model has the closest point of approach to South Florida right here, just right over Grand Bahama Island. And they have it as nearing a Category 3 strength for the GFDL model. But the GFDL model has not been performing nearly as well as the HWRF model. In fact, the GFDL model has been off by an average of about 67 miles going out 5 days. And the HWRF has been out only off by about 33 miles at 5 days. So here's the HWRF. And again, it's a very similar path, but just a little bit closer to the state of Florida. At its closest point of approach right off Daytona Beach as a 75 mile per hour hurricane. And again, these are around 10 meters, so it might not even be hurricane status according to the HWRF, but the GFDL definitely wants to crank this thing up in the Bahamas. So it's going to be interesting to see which one of these models ends up being right. But I'll tell you one thing about the GFDL model. Let me go back to that. This GFDL model, all the last several days anyway, has really been pretty far to the east of the Bahamas, and figuring this was going to go over Hispaniola or cut between Puerto Rico and Hispaniola. That never happened. So I'd put a little more stock in the HWRF at this point in time, since it's predicted it to go a little bit further to the west. All right, here is the ensemble members map from the Weather Underground, and again, you can see all of the model runs basically taking this over the Bahamas and then quickly out to sea in response to a trough that's going to dip off the United States coastline in combination with a weakening ridge out in the Atlantic, and that's going to allow the system to turn off to the northeast. But again, you've heard that term on the internet, the gnawing and gnashing of teeth, as the system is not yet turning, and the further west it gets, the more there is a risk for Florida and the southeastern United States to be affected by this system. Talked to William Wagner from Early Alert a little while ago, and even he's concerned about this and is wondering what's going on with the models here, why the system is not behaving, and it continues to cruise off to the west. But there's a few models out here that trickle it and take it over South Florida. The BAM models, the no gaps, and the LBAR. And the Canadian model insists on taking this into South Florida, where the majority of the other models keep it just off the coast of Florida, turning off to the northeast and heading out to sea. But, you know, looking at this map here, all of the models up on this map, we ran the tropical Atlantic models as we always do on these tropical update videos. Considering all models that are at least taking this either into the Gulf, hitting the state of Florida, or going out into the open Atlantic. We did not include models that dissipate it down in the Greater Antilles, which is a distinct possibility that that could happen. But out of 40 models that we ran, 67.5% of them keep it in the Bahamas and recurve it out into the open Atlantic. 17.5% actually take it into the state of Florida, and 15% take it into the Gulf of Mexico. So right now, by far the largest amount of models are showing a recurvature just off the state of Florida and out into the Atlantic. Now, these can be wrong. We've done these updates for years like this using percentages, and the models can still shift because sometimes these systems don't always do what they're supposed to do according to the models, what the models expect them to do. All right, here's the other issue is this system going to survive at all? Here is the island of Hispaniola, and this is the Dominican Republic we're looking at here. And our system is directly south of here, so basically anything east of this line, you can pretty much not think about mountain ranges and how they're going to affect this system. But here are some of the highest mountains in Hispaniola, right here in western Dominican Republic, 10,500-foot mountains over here. Those are really, really high mountains and are able to destroy a system. But down here in the Barahona Peninsula, where our current feature is Oviedo, 3,000-foot high mountains. So if this system, the northern semicircle of our tropical storm Emily, passes over the Barahona Peninsula, it's not going to really have much of an effect on the system at all. So now you look a little bit further to the west. What about Haiti? Well, here is the zoomed-in version topographical map of Haiti. And again, pretty high mountains over here in southeastern Haiti, 8,700-foot mountains, pretty high. Then you get around 6,000 foot north of Port-au-Prince and 6,000 foot or so over most of the island of Haiti. And then, of course, you get further west here in the peninsula of Haiti. You got 3,000 foot mountains over here. So these mountains are not going to be as disruptive as the Dominican Republic. So let's say our system passes like this. You got a lot of water to work with, a lot less mountain ranges to deal with. So that's another scenario. And then, of course, there's East Cuba. And this could very well come up as well into East Cuba, like in this sort of a fashion here over the next 36 hours or so. And in Cuba, the highest mountain ranges are down here right around Manzanillo, right around 6,500-foot mountains. So these are around 5,000 foot over here. But in between, there's hardly any mountains at all. So the path of least resistance would be over eastern Cuba or over the Windward Passage over here to the east part of Cuba. So it's avoided the highest mountain ranges is basically what I'm trying to say here. So the question is the shear going to tear this system apart? Let me show you some shear images. Now, this was from 24 hours ago as the system was well south of Puerto Rico. Notice there's a high pressure ridge building over our system, which is able to prevent it from getting sheared by the westerly winds to the north of the system. But if you move out into the next image, this is about 18 hours ago. Notice there's a little bit of a high pressure ridge south of our system, which is aiding in the wind shear over the top of our system, along with these troughs out in the Atlantic, causing westerly wind shear north and south of our system. With the high pressure system, it's really being battered badly. And then if you look at the latest image from the University of Wisconsin, you can continue to see a high pressure ridge to the southwest of our system, causing continued westerly wind shear as well as the wind shear north of our system. But the thing to notice in this picture is this high pressure system is expanding a little bit. Looks like it's weakening, so the shear might lighten up a little bit, which is what the Hurricane Center mentioned in the latest discussion as the system moves through the Greater Antilles. But the question is it moving through the Windward Passage? Then it would be mostly over water, would not diminish very much, allowing for strengthening in the Bahamas. If it passes over Cuba, it wouldn't be as much weakening. It would be a little bit more weakening than it would if it passed over the Windward Passage. But if it passes over Haiti and western Dominican Republic, I think this system is going to shut down altogether, and it probably would not survive the track over here. So we'll have to watch all this real closely. And here's the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center as of the latest advisory, just off the coast of West Palm Beach, Florida, going over Grand Bahama Island and then making the right-hand turn heading out in the Atlantic. They do not predict this to become a hurricane until it starts to pull away from the United States. So we'll see what happens with this. Anyway, let's take a look at the vortex, the hurricane hunters one more time. There's no new messages from the hurricane hunters. They're flying south of the Dominican Republic. Keep track of everything going on at Hurricane City by clicking on Oviedo, Dominican Republic, next to the tracking map for all the localized information from the affected areas. That's it for now. We'll be back with another update tomorrow. We'll see where we stand with the models, how close is this going to get to the United States. Everybody should be watching this closely, especially in Florida and the southeastern United States, as well as the Bahamas. They might end up getting the worst out of this system yet. Well, that's it for now. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane City.